This will be the second story that I've sent you. My mom told me this story and said that she was about 10 or 11 during the time of this experience. She said she was sleeping in her bed one night and she woke up at about 1 in the morning. She looked up and saw a white shadow floating next to her bed that had big eyes. She said its head looked a little swollen and it looked like it was trying to say something. Got really scared and tried to scream to wake her mom. She was so scared that she couldn't even make a noise. She never told her mom about it because she was so afraid that her brothers would tease her. But a week later, she said she heard her brother, my Uncle Kevin, say that he saw a white figure with a swollen head. Well, to start it off, I can see and talk to dead people. It sounds crazy, I know, but it is the truth. I'm not one of those people that you see on TV, but it's pretty much the same thing. I started seeing ghosts when I was 6, while I was asleep in my bed. I was awakened by what I thought was my brother walking around, but it turned out to be somebody I didn't even know. I wanted to scream, but I was so terrified. At first, he didn't even notice me. Then he saw me, looked surprised, and then disappeared. I saw footprints just appear on the floor, heading inside my closet. I've been scared of my closet ever since. I couldn't see who it was because it was so dark, but the next day I found out that it was a kid. While walking upstairs to eat breakfast, I saw him sitting on the steps and frowning at me. I noticed him, stopped, and I really wanted to scream. I was just about to let one out when he put his fingers to his lips, signaling me to be quiet. I didn't want to scare him away, so I didn't yell. I smiled. He smiled back. I then blinked, and he vanished. At this point, I thought I was going crazy. I went upstairs, ate my cereal with my family, all the while he watched. I tried to shrug it off when a vase he was sitting next to fell off and broke. Then I was staring wild-eyed at him. He frowned and disappeared again. I later was walking down my basement when I heard some crying. I thought it could be my brother because he was frustrated that he couldn't beat a video game. He always cried when he couldn't win. But when I got down there, the TV and the lights were off. I was again terrified, but I peeked around the corner, and nothing was there. All I heard was crying, but it was getting louder. I was turning around to run. When I saw him right there in front of me, I fell on the ground and screamed. He cried even more at this. I could hear my parents asking if everything was all right while they were making their way downstairs. I looked at him, and he vanished once again. The crying stopped as my parents came in a little crawl space that was called the toy room. They looked at me stunned, still staring at where the little ghost used to be. They asked if I hurt myself or something, and I just said no. I just tripped. They then inspected my body, really see if I was just toughing out some scrape. My mom looked at my dad, and then shrugged. My dad's next reply scared me so bad, to the point I peed my pants. Well, then why were you crying then? Well, after a few more meetings, I found out that he was a ghost. Yes, I didn't know before. After a while, we became friends, but he never spoke, just helped us out, and played with our toys. Like once, before we even went to our grandparents' house, we had to clean the basement. It took hours, but we finally did it. Then we went to my grandma's. When we came home, my brother and I went to the basement, and we played video games. It was a mess. We groaned, and I screamed, "Sam!" We named him Little Black Sambo because of his color. Not to be racist, for those of you who are easily offended. While my brother went to the bathroom, he appeared, at first smiling, but then frowned. Seeing how distressed I was, I looked him straight in the eye and said, "Help us clean, or clean it yourself." I stormed upstairs to get my mom so she could help us. We were just heading downstairs when I heard my brother scream. I ran out to figure out what Sam had done. When I got in there, I saw my brother shaking, his eyes fully open, looking to and fro. I looked into the room and gasped myself. It was perfectly clean. My mom got down there and said, "What mess." It was 6 years that I had known him. He was mine and the family's best friend. It was almost as if he was a part of the family. My life was going good. I was starting 7th grade. I had lots of friends. What more could I ask for? I've decided that we were moving. I'll never forget that day. The day my mom decided to move. She had wanted to move before, but never actually did. We've even had a for sale sign in our front yard before, but it was taken down only a few days after, because my mom didn't want to leave the home she raised her children in. Now she was serious. The sign went up almost immediately, and she started looking at houses. At first I thought it was cool. I mean, the house we were in was good, but we didn't live in the best neighborhood in the world, which was exactly why my mom wanted to move. It was a long time before someone decided to buy our house for $200,000 in cash. We moved out in a week. My father took his offer, and we started packing immediately. I was so sad to leave this home. I had so many memories there, but I had to move on. While I was packing my things, Sam appeared beside my bed, but he wasn't smiling this time. He was frowning. Then he vanished. I was more sad that week than I ever was, or will be. I had known Sam for 6 years. 6 years. It was like leaving a little brother to me. That entire week, I begged him to go with us. Obviously, he didn't go. The day we left was the worst day ever. It's ironic, because it was the day after Easter. As I was heading out of what was now our empty house, my brother and I ran to the toy room where Sam was. It was like he wasn't even there in the first place. Sam was completely gone. Vanished out of thin air. It was the most bizarre thing ever. When we moved into our new house, the house that I'm in now, there was only one ghost. A mischievous poltergeist that is so annoying. He once turned on our TV and cranked the volume up to the max while we were all asleep. It scared the crap out of my mom, but he thought it was hilarious. There have been good things as well as bad things, though. About a year ago, my brother's best friend died in a car accident. Our family, especially my brother, were so distraught. My brother and I stayed up late the night he died and watched Monty Python to cheer us up. Then, I noticed somebody walking around our kitchen, grinning with the biggest smile I'd ever seen. I thought it was the poltergeist, so I told him to go away. My brother said, "I don't think it's the poltergeist." I stared at him and asked him how he knew. "I don't know," he said, "but I really don't think it's him." He told me to describe him. "Well," I said, "he's wearing blue jeans, a white t-shirt, and he has the biggest smile I've ever seen." Jason stood up. "Jason, is that you?" It turned out that the ghost was my brother's best friend, Jason, that died in a car crash. We stopped the movie and talked for hours. Jason had to talk through me, though. Apparently, the only way a ghost can communicate to living people is through someone else. Anyway, presently, I talked to a ghost that came in about a month ago. Her name is Amelie, and her brother Jacob. Jason visits now and then, but I really don't see him as much as I used to. Well, that's my life. Helping out ghosts. Kinda weird, huh? But it all started out with a little ghost named Sam. This is for you, buddy. My name is Samantha, and I'm 18 years old. I have had a lot of unusual and scary things happen to my family and I, but I won't get into all of that. But what I will tell you is one story about something I had the unfortunate chance of meeting. This is my story. My family and I are gypsies, since we constantly move around and hardly stay in the same place. Mostly because of my dad, God rest his soul, wanted us to see the world. We lived in 17 different towns and cities altogether, but we sort of gave up on that since he died 7 years ago, and we moved a couple years later to Timmins, Ontario, which is located in northern Canada, which is only an hour and a half away from where we used to live. Anyway, I didn't get the greatest feeling from our 2-bedroom upstairs apartment. Not only was it on a bad street, but I felt something not good there. Right away, odd things happened, such as the rocking chair moment. There was this creepy old rocking chair from the 1970s already there, and it was put away in the inside porch with most of our belongings. I had an unnerving feeling, and I went to go see it. Right there from the doorway, it was rocking crookedly, which made it look even creepier. Then it stopped so suddenly, like it knew that I was watching. Then there's the attic. I always hear something walking around up there, and a loud thump, like it was jumping up and down. It was very cold up there, and I always avoided it. My mom even put a lock on the attic door, just in case. That was what she said. I didn't even know what that meant. I remember one night I was home alone waiting for my mom and sister to come home. I did not feel safe, even with all the lights on. I couldn't even sleep until they were home. I was in my room waiting on my bed. Then I heard the door open and someone walking around. I thought it was Mom, so I went to go look, and she wasn't there. The door was open, and I was alone. I used to wake up with scratches all over my body, some of them so deep, and I would be puzzled as to how they got there. I didn't even have a pet. Then there's the one night when I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling scared, and it was cold in my room, which was weird since I didn't have a window and I wasn't cold. It was just a room. I felt someone standing beside my bed looking down at me. My bed was practically floor level. I turned the other way and tried going back to bed, but that's when I felt someone's hot breath in my ear, and I heard it rasp. It was a man. I knew this. My heart stopped and I froze. I was scared. I couldn't sleep since. I knew it was a man. I had a dream of him. He was a Caucasian, weightly and tall guy, and he often tried to follow me in my dreams. He was angry and abusive, but he couldn't touch me once I got away from the apartment. I told my sister, and she also knew. We moved out of there the next summer, and we went back to Cochrane, and we stayed here ever since. We've had other spirits, but we didn't care. We were back to something familiar, and that was okay. I lived in a town in my hometown of Glendale, Arizona. It was on 59th Avenue in Peoria, less than a mile from 3 cemeteries and a dilapidated old barn house. Lots of creepy surroundings. My experiences aren't that riveting. The place was infested with cockroaches, and they never went away, no matter what we did. We did so many things as far as fogging. We let 30 geckos loose to eat them all. We put out roach traps. I've just heard about bugs in haunted places, flies and stuff, but it could have nothing to do with it. But also, there was 1.5 bathrooms in the place. The upstairs had one shower, and the downstairs just had a toilet and a sink. Well, one time I was in the bathroom, which is right beneath the stairs. As I was sitting on the toilet, I heard feet running up the stairs, like thunder, like someone was really hurrying to get up there. Then I came out of the bathroom and saw my boyfriend, and my roommate and I said, "Who ran upstairs all crazy?" And they said neither of them. I said, "Are you sure?" And they said, "Yeah, we've been sitting here the whole time." I asked if one of the 3 cats ran upstairs. The 2 girl cats are too small to have made that kind of noise, but our male cat was almost 20 pounds, so it was a possibility. But he was sitting beside my roommate. Also, the light used to turn on by itself, and in my boyfriend and my bedroom, the lock was on the outside, and it was a keyhole, as if somebody was locking someone in the room from the outside. One of our female cats went crazy and started to growl at us and attack my roommate. My dog was always barking at things when there was nothing for him to bark at. Very scary. Thank God I don't live there anymore. After sharing some particularly creepy paranormal experiences amongst ourselves, my brother, sister, and my sister's boyfriend and I decided to check out a couple of the places in the haunted places list that just happen to be located here in scenic Muscogee, Oklahoma. While searching for the address of 2119 Muscogee, we wound up on a street by the name of Callahan. A set of train tracks run across the road, and bells and crossing lights are in place to warn about oncoming trains. At around 2 a.m. in the morning, we started down the road. When we started, the warning lights were flashing, but they went off shortly, and we assumed a train had passed. But when we were coming up on the tracks, they began flashing again, and this time, the balls went off too. Our driver, my sister, slammed on the brakes, and we all started looking for the train. There wasn't one in sight. Lights went off for a few seconds later, so we just sat and waited, unsure of whether or not to continue across the tracks. Then the lights went off again. My sister sped in reverse to get away from the tracks. She was so freaked out. Her boyfriend finally talked her into going across the tracks, and when he did, my brother and I, felt extremely panicked. After that, we finally found her address, which is now an abandoned parking lot. The story says that you're supposed to hear 2 men talking in the backseat. What happened was that my left eardrum started hurting very badly, and I just got an overwhelming sense that something bad had happened. As we're pulling out of the parking lot, 2 lights went out. One right on the corner which the parking lot was on, and one diagonally across the street. We went through the parking lot once more, and once again my left ear started hurting. My brother said that his ears started ringing for about a second and stopped, and my sister's boyfriend said that he felt like he was on an airplane because his ears suddenly became stuffy. You probably won't think much of this, but it really freaked out my friend. Just read it before you judge it. It started with my friend's mom. His mom used to be a cleaner, you see, and she and her friend were cleaning this house when something happened. First, his mom and her friend were cleaning upstairs. They could always smell something really horrid downstairs, but whenever they went down, there was nothing there. This happened quite a few times. Then one day, my friend's mom was cleaning the wall when she felt something push her really hard on her shoulder. She was then off with shock. Her friend who cleaned with her didn't think it was true, but the next day it appeared to her as well. When my mom's friend was better, her and her friend went to the house next door, which was haunted, and they told the woman who lived there. This one, called Vanessa, went into the house, and as soon as she stepped upstairs, the smell stopped. It was almost as if she scared the ghost or thing off. I don't know what you think of this story, but I can guarantee you one thing. It is 100% real. Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Phantom of Darkness's haunted ghost stories that you may have not heard before. If you could please leave a like, guys, a comment, and a subscribe if you're new. It really helps the channel grow. Anything that, can start a conversation in the comment section below. Let me know which stories you like the most, and I love saying that whenever I have a new video because I'm so excited for these videos, But guys, I love you so much.